What up, y'all? It's your boy, the Hood Nerd, back again with another video. We done had this hot topic going on around now about abortion. Now, you got Jameela Jamil. I remember when she came out a couple years ago, and she said what she said. And I want to revisit what she said so we could have a conversation about that real quick. Now, my thoughts on abortions are this: not for it, not against it. It's a woman's body. She can do whatever she wants to do with it. But what we will call it still is that baby does have a heartbeat. It is murder. Now that I won't be that way. Now, it's your body. You choose to do what you will with it. But what we're not going to do is act like that child is not a human being at that point. Because I will give you this example. If for some odd reason you and that father were to get into it, or you and another guy were to get into it, or you and another woman were to get into a fight, she hits you in the stomach and that child dies at 8 weeks old, guess what they're going to charge her with? Exactly. One child. You can be charged with the murder of an unborn child at that point. So since the law will recognize that it's murder if something is done to you, then I'm going to recognize the abortion as murder at that point. It's the termination of that life, one way or the other. But what I want to get to, though, is the hypocrisy in her statements that she made. When she said she described an abortion she had when she was younger as the best decision she ever made, as she criticized Georgia's abortion ban. Last week, Georgia became the fourth U.S. state this year to make abortion illegal as soon as a heartbeat can be detected, which can be as early as 6 weeks into a pregnancy. The other states were Kentucky, Mississippi, and Ohio. And of course, we know Texas has joined in the fray at this point. But she shared a thread of posts on Twitter regarding the fetal heartbeat law, calling it inhumane and blatantly demonstrative of a hatred of women. Is it not inhumane to murder that unborn child, though? And see, that's what I think the conversation needs to go to. Use protection in at that point. Why are you having unprotected sex? And see, the only time I can honestly say I would be pro-abortion at this point would only be, I would take a stance and say, yes, I could be for it, is if a woman was raped. At that point, I get it. I understand. But only in that instance. All other instances, there's no reason for you to murder that baby. If you can't take care of it, guess what? Use birth control. It's quite simple. She went on to say that the anti-abortion law in Georgia is so upsetting, inhumane, and blatantly demonstrative of a hatred of women, a disregard for our rights, bodies, mental health, and essentially a punishment for rape victims, forcing to carry the baby of their rapist, Jamil wrote. Now, again, I think the numbers now are maybe like 4% of women who have abortions. It was like 4 or 5% of women who have abortions are actually rape victims. But again, we understand you can garner sympathy if you use rape. So like I said, had you been raped, I have no problems with it. I don't have a problem with it now, to be honest with you. It's just I've started to learn women get offended when I say they've murdered a child. They don't want to hear that word. Jamil continued, I had an abortion when I was young, and it was the best decision I have ever made, both for me and for the baby that I didn't want and wasn't ready for emotionally, psychologically, and financially. Now, again, this is why she murdered the baby. It was the best decision I have ever made, both for me and for the baby. I don't know for the baby. The baby didn't even get a chance to come out and see what life was like. You made a selfish decision. Decision. Yeah, tongue twister. And at that point, that's why I do call it murder. For those stances right there, when she goes to say, it was the best decision I have ever made, both for me and for the baby, that I didn't want and wasn't ready for. Yet you had unprotected sex. Emotionally, I wasn't ready for it. Yet you had unprotected sex. Psychologically and financially, I wasn't ready for it. Yet you had unprotected sex. So if you knew all those things, why would you have unprotected sex? Because you have a lot of women and men who can't fight those sexual urges. And all you really need to do is put protection on. If it's that hard for you, go get birth control. Go get a Plan B pill. It's quite simple. We don't have to be in this position. I find it very reckless. And that's why, like I said, I call it murder. Because there's a lot of options out here where you don't have to get pregnant. He can have a condom on. You can be on birth control. There's a Plan B pill. There are a lot of ways of contraception that you could be using where abortion never has to come into play. The actor and body positivity advocate continued by addressing a large number of children that end up in foster homes before suggesting Georgia's new law will mean the state could become inundated with children who are unwanted or unable to be cared for. And again, this is to now play on the heartstrings of people. Now you want to talk about putting children, unwanted children, in foster care. Why don't you just put a condom on and use birth control? How about that? And we don't have to have unwanted children here. How about you just be responsible? How about you handle your business as a single individual so we don't create a single individual with now a growing individual inside your body? How about you just handle Jameela's business and protect yourself? It will be hard to find great fostering for them all, Jamil explained. The anti-abortion law is also especially targeted at those without the means and ability to move state. Women who are marginalized, poor, disabled will, as ever, be the ones to suffer the most. The wealthy will. And we're making this big to-do about abortions as if 100% of abortions, even 30% of abortions, are the direct result of rape. No. 95% of abortions are the direct result of irresponsible men and women who don't want to wrap it up or get on a pill or get the shot or take a Plan B pill. Let's start being more responsible out there. It's your boy, the Hood Nerd. I'm out.